Hello everyone, and welcome to the channel. First of all, thank you very much to everyone who has subscribed and has liked previous videos. Very much appreciated as a new channel. So today what I thought I'd do is talk about riding quick roads, not necessarily motorways, but quick A roads. So I'm on the A59 at the moment, and this basically runs, as far as I'm concerned anyway, between Skipton in North Yorkshire and Harrogate. This particular stretch that we're on right now is notoriously bad for landslips. And to my left, you probably can't see it, but they're actually building a new section which is going to cut all this out. So I'm not quite sure what they're going to do with all this. You can see on the right here where we've had a landslip, and this was closed for months and months while they fixed it. So I don't know if you can see top left, there's some diggers. That's the new stretch that they're building. So anyway, we're going a bit slow at the moment, but the road will open up a little bit, and I think as motorcyclists, particularly more experienced ones, we just tend to take it for granted that when we get on a decent road we can kind of relax a little bit, because by and large the visibility is good, the road's reasonably wide and in reasonably good condition, although that's a moot point if you live in the UK. So there are hazards all over the place still, so we need to be aware of them. And the first thing that I would strongly recommend you take a look at and give a thought about is your following distance. 30 mile an hour here, which now everyone's ignoring. So your following distance is really important for obvious reasons, because don't forget, you must be able to stop in the distance that you can see to be clear on your own side of the road. So if you're right up behind a car, a van, lorry or whatever, your distance is going to be severely impaired and you're just simply not going to be able to stop in the distance that you can see to be clear on your own side of the road. I know I keep mentioning it on videos, but it's probably the most important thing when you're out and about, because it not only does it apply to bends and crests and things like that, but it also applies to faster roads. I don't know about you, but I've never really can remember my stopping distances. The general rule that they teach you in roadcraft is a 2-second rule. So in other words, oh god, we've got a road. What's going on up here? Traffic jam, deep joy. So much for a fast road, eh? Not quite sure what's going on here. So what we'll do, we'll pick this video up a little bit later. So plan B, we weren't going anywhere in that traffic, so I've turned round. I'll go a different route. Still going to be a pretty quick road, probably more fun, to be honest. So let's watch this traffic coming on the right here. And we're back into that 30. And we're going to be going left towards Otley. It's a tricky junction off Camber Steep. So yes, just make sure that when you're following traffic you leave at least 2-second gap. Now that 2 seconds is usually pretty good up to about 40 miles an hour, but as you go faster that gap needs to be longer. To a degree that gap is going to depend on lots of factors, such as quality of brakes, your experience, what's in front of you, all sorts of things. So as I say, this is a reasonably quick road, lots of hazards though. Everything from tight bends, crests, parked cars, driveways, brows of hills, narrow roads, blind summits and bowling alleys. Bit of a crosswind today as well. So the way you count your 2 seconds, the way I always count it, is, it was taught to me when I refereed basketball actually. 1001, 1002. If you do it at that pace, then you're probably giving yourself a little bit more. But look at your watch or a clock with a second hand. Because some people count their 2 seconds way too quickly, which potentially might not serve you very well. And the way to gauge whether you're 2 seconds behind, or 3, or depending on how fast you're going, is to pick a landmark. For example, this telegraph pole here, 1001, 1002. So a little bit close, move back a little bit, or these shadows, for example, 1001, 1002. So there you go, so that's about the right distance, and I'm doing 40 miles an hour. And keep checking it. I know I do, because sometimes it's easy to creep forwards. Some more shades coming up here, shadows coming up here, so we can do it here. 1001, 1002, yeah, it's good. So again, this is an example where you close up. That car in front of me has either picked the wrong gear or just hasn't got the power to get up this hill as quickly as I can. And before I knew it, I was about a second behind him. So you need to be constantly aware, and this is where speed comes in. And I know the great thing about motorbikes is that it can go fast, and we've all done it. We've all blasted down a nice straight bit of road at a ridiculous speed that we probably shouldn't do. I know I have in the past. But the one thing that doing advanced driving, or particularly riding, teaches you is to stick to the speed limits, which I know sounds incredibly boring, but the reality is it gives you so much more time to react to hazards. And actually, in lots of ways, by sticking to the speed limit and gaining the other skills that advanced riding gives you, you end up making more progress by sticking to the speed limits and by planning and identifying hazards early than you do by charging about the countryside. I know some of you won't be convinced by that, but you speak to any advanced driver or rider and they'll tell you it's true. A number of times I've been out in the Yorkshire Dales and sports bikes have shot past me and I'm on my BSA Gold Star 650 sticking to the speed limit, and I've caught them up because I've approached bends at the wrong speed. I have to slam on their anchors. They've got the wrong line through the corners half the time, and by sticking to the rules, if you like, of advanced riding, you can make far better progress safely than you can just by applying pure speed. I probably could have overtaken this chap here. There's a Brava hill coming up, and I know there's a couple of pretty nasty bends coming up here as well, which I found out to my cost when I was test driving a Subaru once. Came flying over this hill and suddenly there was no road left about here. That was some years ago, in my youth, or relative youth anyway. So I'm going to see, I've caught up on this guy again. Just needs to ease off a little bit. So easy to do. So we're dropping down now off the moors into Otley. So I shall say goodbye to you all. If you found this interesting, please give me a like. Do think about subscribing to the channel. It will help me enormously with the old algorithms. And with that, I shall wish you a good day, and I shall see you on the next one. Thanks for watching.